Hello everyone, my name is Aftab Mandal. In this video, I am going to cover the topics like identifiers and literals. So if we go by the definition of these two, literal states that it is a syntactic representation of boolean, character, numeric and string data. Literals provides a means of expressing values of a program, whereas identifiers are a way of referring. Identifiers are just name of class, methods, and interface and packages. Unlike literals, identifiers are not the thing themselves. They are just a way of referring to them. If we talk about identifiers in detail, there are certain rules which we have to follow while naming our identifier. So the rule states that the only allowed characters are the alphanumeric characters. Like we can use uppercase and lowercase alphabets. We can use digits and underscore, but we cannot use the special characters. Otherwise, it will give an error. The rule also states that we should not start our variable name with the digits, as it is not a valid identifier. Java is a case-sensitive language, and the rule also states that we must not use the keywords as an identifier. These are the rules we should follow while naming our variables. Now let's move on to our next point, that is literals. So there are different types of literals. Literals are just constant values assigned to the data types. So if we talked about the integral data types like byte and long and int, so there are four ways of naming these literals. So we can use the decimal literal, we can use hexadecimal, we can use octal and binary while in integral data types literals. Next, if we are at floating data types, we can only use the decimal numbers here. We cannot use hexadecimal and octal numbers here. If by default in Java, if we are using the floating data type literals, the default it will store the in default as a double floating point. But we can specify it as a float by just giving a suffix of f after the literal. The other literal is string literal, in which we can write anything inside the double quotation, but we should not use the unescaped line here. Another literal is char literal, in which we can use only one character, but we can also use Unicode here. Next we have boolean literals, in which we only can use true and false. I think we cover all the topics of literals and identifiers. In short, we can say that identifiers are just a name given to the class and methods and etc. And whereas literals are the constant values assigned to them. So let's conclude this video here. This is Aftab Mandal. Let's meet in the next video. Until then, goodbye.